Hello. Let's say my name is simply the girl from the front desk. That's how most guests remember me anyway. I've been working in the hotel industry for a little over 6 years now. During that time, my life has turned into a long sequence of shifts that blend into one another. Early mornings that begin before the sun rises, nights that stretch into forever, stories that unfold like small movies, and hundreds of faces that come and go. Most of these faces I forget, but some stay with me in the quiet corners of memory, like photographs stored in a drawer. When I first entered this line of work, I truly believed the hotel environment was supposed to be elegant and graceful, a space where everything was controlled and polished. I imagined warm lighting in the lobby, friendly but discreet staff at the front desk, the comforting smell of freshly brewed coffee drifting through the air every morning. I assumed everything in a hotel ran according to precise rules and clear structure, like a finely tuned Swiss watch. But it took only a few weeks on the job to understand that behind that polished lobby and soft lighting lies a whole different world. Loud, exhausting, chaotic, unpredictable. A world full of human emotions, personal dramas, crises, joys, frustrations, quiet moments of kindness, and sometimes very ugly behavior. A hotel is like a living organism. People walk through its doors carrying their moods, their loneliness, their stress, their secrets, and every single day, that entire storm of life passes directly through you. I started my journey in a large hotel, the kind where everything runs on routine and repetition. This place wasn't just structured, it was regimented, almost militarized. Strict procedures, endless checklists, surveillance cameras in every hallway, managers who could appear behind your shoulder at any moment. There was zero room for mistakes. If the uniform wasn't perfectly ironed, that was a problem. If your tone was a little too casual, another problem. If you paused for a few seconds to catch your breath, definitely a problem. The shifts were long, 9, 10, sometimes 12 hours, and during all that time you had to be on. Perfect posture, polite smile, calm voice, eyes alert. No matter how tired you were, no matter what kind of day you were having, no matter what was happening in your personal life, you learned very quickly, the guest doesn't care. They came to escape their problems, not listen to yours. And if something goes wrong, even something completely beyond your control, the blame is almost always pushed downward, to the staff. Later, when I moved to a smaller hotel, I expected the job to get easier. Fewer rooms, fewer guests, fewer demands. That was the logic. But I was wrong. Small hotels are their own universe. When there are fewer employees, everyone wears multiple hats at once. One moment, you're the front desk receptionist. The next moment, you're an event coordinator. Then you're a cleaning supervisor, a barista, a therapist for a guest crying about their breakup, and sometimes even the hotel's unofficial IT specialist. If something breaks, you figure it out. If a guest needs something at midnight, you take care of it. There is no other department to call. You are the department. The hardest time of day is the morning. Before the rest of the city is even awake, the hotel staff is already in motion. The breakfast buffet, the so-called simple amenity most guests take completely for granted, is a miniature battlefield. Tables must be set perfectly, bread sliced evenly, coffee brewed at the right strength, plates warmed, fresh fruit washed, dried, and arranged so it looks effortless. Everything must look inviting, but nothing can look touched. The illusion of abundance must remain intact. Because here's the secret. Breakfast is never just breakfast. It is the show. It is the moment you are judged before the day even begins. If the eggs are cold, if the juice is slightly warm, if there are not enough napkins, if one tray looks half empty, guests notice. And they don't just notice, they take it personally. A bad breakfast can ruin someone's mood for the whole day. And that mood often turns into a complaint, which turns into a review, which turns into pressure on the staff. It's a ripple effect that starts with something as small as the temperature of scrambled eggs. I've heard many rumors about hotels reusing food between breakfasts, and I'll be honest, I've seen different things in different places. In well-run hotels, leftover food is thrown away immediately, logged, documented, disposed of, not because of generosity, but because the consequences of a food poisoning complaint can be catastrophic, financially and legally. But in cheaper hotels, yes. I've seen day-old vegetables washed and served again, pastries dried out and repurposed, bread turned into croutons, sometimes even eggs reheated, and everyone involved knew exactly what they were doing, because budgets were tight, waste was expensive, and management cared more about costs than consequences. Only after stricter sanitary regulations came in did hotels begin throwing away everything. And while this solved a safety problem, it also created an emotional one. Watching perfectly good food fill trash bins is something that hurts you every single morning. Then there were the inspections. In my first hotel, they were a mere performance, planned, scheduled, smoothed out. Management knew how to prepare the stage. Employees were coached on exactly what to say. Nothing was truly checked. But in the smaller hotel where I later worked, inspections were real. Clipboards, thermometers, labels, logs. Questions directed not at managers, but at us, the staff. And suddenly you realize, in some places, hospitality is not just a performance. Some places actually mean what they say. There were also penalties. Endless penalties. In my first hotel, you could be written up for nearly anything. Being 2 minutes late, sitting down for 1 moment, holding your phone in your hand, breathing too visibly almost. The pressure was constant. And fear is not a sustainable fuel. It burns you out quietly, day by day. Where I work now, there is less fear. People are calmer. They laugh more. They stay longer. When workers are treated like humans, not robots, the entire atmosphere changes. But the front desk, that is its own world. The receptionist is both a greeter and a shield, a welcoming smile and a wall. The first face guests see when they arrive, and the last one they see when they leave. Your smile sets the tone. Your tone can soften an argument. Your silence can prevent a fight. Guests arrive with all kinds of moods, tired from flights, frustrated from travel delays, angry about things that have nothing to do with the hotel, lonely, anxious, sometimes just bored and looking for someone to unload their feelings onto. And the hardest part is that you are expected to absorb all of it without letting any of it show. Night shifts are their own universe. The hotel at night feels alive in a different way, quieter, yes, but full of shadows and whispered stories. Hallways echo differently. Footsteps sound sharper. The lobby light seems dimmer, even if it's not. At night, guests behave differently too. People are more vulnerable, more impulsive, more unpredictable. There are guests who check in late and get unexpected visitors. You can tell instantly when the situation is transactional. You learn to read body language like a second language. Hotels don't like to talk about this openly, but it's everywhere. In big hotels, there are rules. In small hotels, there is reality. And sometimes reality is uncomfortable. Some nights are peaceful, some nights are frightening. I've had guests show up so drunk they couldn't stand. Men who thought kindness was an invitation. People who tried to follow staff down empty hallways. We are trained to smile, but smiling does not protect you. Security helps, when they are available. But sometimes security is one tired man watching 30 cameras alone, and you learn to rely on your instincts instead. There was a night when a man grabbed my coworker's wrist across the desk, not violently, but with the kind of grip that makes your body freeze. She screamed. Security escorted him out. The next morning he came down with coffee and apologies because he didn't remember anything. But she remembered. That's something people don't understand. Guests forget. Staff don't. Then came the pandemic, and everything changed. Hotels emptied, Prices collapsed. Workloads doubled. The guests who did come expected luxury at a discount, and many arrived with the emotional weight of the entire world falling apart. Hospitality became more than service. It became emotional labor of the heaviest kind. Breakfast became a war zone of disposable gloves and plastic covers. Cleaning became medical procedure. And yet, the expectations remained the same. Smile, be patient, make people feel at home. Even when you had no home left in you. Some parts of hotel life are strange and almost funny. Breakfast buffets, for example, turn adults into hunters. People pile food onto plates like there's a shortage. Some quietly wrap extra pastries to take for later. Others pretend not to see the sign that says food must be eaten in the dining area only. When you gently remind them, they look offended, as if you've accused them of stealing national treasure. Human behavior is fascinating and exhausting, but then there were moments that stayed with me for different reasons. There was an older man who stayed with us for several months. He had a gentle, quiet presence. Every morning he would sit near the window with oatmeal and a newspaper, calm, predictable, peaceful. One morning he simply did not get up from his chair. The world stopped for a moment, and we stood there, helpless, waiting for paramedics. That was when I understood something deeply. Hotels are not just buildings. They are holding spaces for human lives, in all their fragility. People often imagine hotels as glamorous places full of secrets, hidden rooms, secret doors, mysterious happenings. In reality, it's mostly paperwork, disinfectant smell, tired feet, aching backs, and the quiet hope that your shift will end without a crisis. But one thing has changed the industry more than anything else: online reviews. Your rating is your survival. One angry sentence on the internet can matter more than months of good service. And so, even when guests are rude, even when they yell, even when they treat you like furniture, you stay calm. Because you know one review can cost the hotel, and sometimes cost you. But sometimes, just sometimes, a guest leaves a kind note, or says a real thank you, or looks at you like a person, not a service function. And that one moment, that genuine recognition, is enough to keep you going longer than any paycheck or bonus. If there is one thing I've learned, it's this: a hotel is not just a place to sleep. It is a mirror for human nature. People arrive tired, hopeful, anxious, in love, heartbroken, searching, escaping, beginning something, ending something, or simply passing through. And the staff, the front desk clerks, the housekeepers, the servers, we are the quiet witnesses to all of it. We see people as they are, not as they present themselves to the world. We are not just workers in uniforms. We are listeners, problem solvers, peacemakers, silent observers. We don't expect applause. But when someone looks us in the eye and says, "Thank you," and means it, that moment is worth more than any performance review or monthly bonus. Because behind every hotel room, every breakfast buffet, every polite greeting, there is a human being. And all we really want is for that to be seen.